Alright. How's the stream going? Oh, I need to drink this beer so I can spit in it. Alright. What's up, Kyle? Alright. So, I felt like we were talking about something important, and then just couldn't get it distracted, which is probably the exact point of it. Stream's no good. Fuck. Fuck. I mean, it has to be YouTube because when I first started doing these, I had no fucking problems at all practically. Like there'd be like a little cut every once in a while. Now, like every single day, it just gets worse and worse. I haven't, you know what I honestly think it is? I think that I think YouTube was fucking with me first, and they're like, fuck, he's still going. And I think they like contacted my ISP and then had him like throttle for the area or something. That's what I think happened. Yeah, I might need to. I mean, I have a Wi-Fi hotspot. This one is like in, like when I'm here. This is when I say like I'm going to high elevation. I'm like right next to a fucking tower. You know. So, stop saying that. All right, so we're fucking clear. All right. What was the question? Do you guys have a question or what? I don't even remember what the question was, what we were talking about. What do you want to talk about? Yep, ask it, motherfucker. You have a question, ask it. Is 8K for a Tundra with 170 miles too much? I don't know, I mean, it's probably about right. Do you think the next big war will go nuclear? If you're worried about that, then you're not paying attention. The threat of this next conflict is not whether or not you die. It's whether or not you can like continue to perpetuate your generations, right? And so Joe is asking, do you think the next big war will go nuclear? The problem with where we're at in this threshold in human enduring perseverance. It's whether or not you can have a union with who you choose, and if you can have bear children and shit like that is the question of the future. It's not like if you're gonna die. Like who gives a fuck about dying? All right, good night. Yeah, there's sturgeon out here. I don't really fish them. No, we don't even have a TV, bro. I mean, I do have a TV. It's like wrapped up. But it's wrapped up in the moving blanket from when we moved here. It's pretty much been like that for, I don't know, since like 2016 or something. I mean, I do consume media because I'm on the internet. You know, like like I browse the internet, but I mostly go to things, I mostly like read shit that, about like flowers and trees, mostly. Yeah. So somebody says it's crazy how much people think nowadays you shouldn't have kids. Yeah. So that's a factor of like what you're facing in the future. So in the future, like now it's not going to get to this point because it's not going to be allowed. It's not going to be permitted. But if the motherfuckers that are running this, that are like influencing this shit, if they had their way in the future, like they would just pretty much they would they would like mandatorily choose who you could mate with, and you'd have to. It's just like China, like how China has like a child policy. You know that same thing going on worldwide. You know what I mean? And that's the danger of the future. Like that's not. It's not that you're. It's not like the threat of death, right? If you guys are worried about dying, you're a pussy. That shit is so fucked up. Like why would you even? Why would you even? Why would you even? Of course you're gonna have kids, right? Like you need to perpetuate your generations, but like why would you want to leave the world the way that it is for your kids? They're just gonna have to fucking deal with it if you don't, you know. This is just, I don't understand how people don't get this. Don't over catfish. Yeah, okay, Zapov, you fucking DNR spook. Do I have generator backup? I don't. I wanted to, but I would only do it with a diesel. And I haven't found out. Diesel generators are typically like industrial, so they're very expensive. They're usually like 20 kilowatt plus, and so I just haven't found like a good cheap diesel generator. If you have a diesel generator and you want to support my existence post-apocalypse, I would pretty much be I would be really thankful if somebody could had a like a source on a diesel generator. I'm super poor. I don't have any money. I think right now I have about $35 in my checking account. But I would love a diesel generator because I wanna experiment with producing fuel from syngas and extracting like diesel like to spec, and then like putting it on the internet so people can see how to do it. So Joe Mama says, death is natural, life is worth living, fight for a life for everyone to live. I agree with that unless it's a control paradigm, right? Like we're pretty much just like, like we cannot continue in the way that things are. It's not possible anyway. Fortunately, that doesn't have to be like a judgment choice that humans make because it's not going to be fucking allowed to continue. So Twig says the only stipulation I would say is to make sure your kid's mother is someone you're actually going to stay with, whether you get married or not. So I would say that like the bigger thing is to like you just gotta like you know you basically have everything working against you, right? So like when you try to make a family nowadays, you basically got like the state is trying to make their dick bigger than yours. That's what's going on, right? And like women are incredibly vulnerable, and that's why union is even possible, like between a man and a woman, is because of and for the vulnerability of the man, right? Like men have vulnerabilities too in their existence, and pairing them it mends that vulnerability. And so the state is like basically trying to, at the most base level, compete with them. And so you have to like overwhelm and outmaneuver, like in a fulfilling way, what the state provides. What if you can't? Our dealer says, what if you can't have kids? Well, then I guess you're not going to reproduce. Joanna says men tend to be emotionally vulnerable, women tend to be sexually and physically vulnerable. I'd agree with you. Men very much like because they're subconsciously aware of their emotional vulnerability, and so they typically like harden it like times 100. So it's like impossible to fucking get to. But you're absolutely right. How is your health? I don't know, like shit. Somebody wants Dugan to work with me. What do? You do anything good for people or what? If you do a bunch of shit about money, I probably don't give a fuck. But if you do something that like helps people, I love doing water breaks because like, especially like in the small towns because there's like people are fucking poor on here. You know what I mean? And they're not like super. The people out here aren't super. Like they're kind of like uncouth. I guess is what you. I mean that's a terrible, stupid word anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Like they're just kind of worried about like whatever the next product meal that they're gonna get is or whatever. But like I enjoy doing the water and shit. Like I fucking love water breaks because when a water break is there, you like fucking cut out the road, get in there, find the fucking main line, and then put a patch on it, and then like some woman gets to bathe their baby. You know what I mean? In the sink or whatever. It gets to clean the baby, make them clean. Like go on with the day. Even though I don't like the way this shit goes, like I like being able to just think about that thought while I'm doing it. You ever think about building a Waco style compound? Not Waco style, but I mean, and not I wouldn't call it a compound, but like I'm trying to exist in the smartest way I know how. Oh shit, David had a fucking break. He had a break like inside of the fucking like underneath the house. That sucks. We usually our breaks are typically. I think the longest break I've been on is like 5 hours. I imagine if it was in a house it'd be a lot longer. Did you get a new kitchen sink out of that? Matt makes corn syrup so the kids can be fat. Yeah, corn syrup's fucked up. It's really, I mean, food is like a huge problem, right? Like, so here's my philosophy on food, right? Everything that most people know about are like, like the brand icon diets, you know, that would be what do they call it? Like, Paleolithic diet, the organic diet, the fucking gluten-free diet, all this shit. You know what's nice is just like eating food that fucking is just unprocessed. Just, like garlic, right? I fucking love garlic. Not only do I like to cook with garlic, it's amazing to cook with. I like to eat fucking garlic raw. You know that garlic has like the mystery compound in garlic is called allicin, and it's like ALICIN. And they don't even understand what the efficacy is. They just know that it's correlated to a lot of extreme mysterious health benefits. If you chew about 4 cloves, if you eat about 4 cloves of garlic a day, you get like basically a fucking heavy hit of allicin every day, and it actually, I mean, it goes so far as to say that they statistically say that it somehow, without an understanding of the efficacy, like it elongates your life, you know. But it has other stuff, like it's a source of B6, it's a source of, I mean, you got all kinds of vitamins. Like each clove has like 2 to 6% of your hard to find vitamins. It activates or not amino acid. It activates what the fuck am I trying to think? It activates an enzyme, an antioxidant enzyme that's inherent in the body that does a bunch of shit that they don't understand. and they're like it also if you choose so if you eat raw garlic, it actually depending on what type you eat, right? So your garlic that you buy in the store is soft neck. The reason that's soft neck is because they fit more cloves in soft neck. So they chose soft neck and then they selected it by controlled reproduction to get the biggest and most cloves that they could get. The hardneck garlic varieties far outweigh the number of soft neck. You basically get two in the store. You get two soft neck varieties, but actual garlic is typically hardneck, and it's which you don't get in stores. And it's so varied. It has so many different nuances and shit, and there's hundreds of them. And they're fucking like, I mean, if you eat them, if you eat raw garlic cloves, I mean, I shit you not, man. I've got multiple browsers, so it will give me maybe a 15 to 20 minute boost in it. If I eat like a really fucking hot clove garlic. That's not hot. I said that garlic was hot in another episode, and somebody was like, "If you think garlic's hot, you might be gay." And then they were like, you need to put some habanero peppers on your burrito, bro. You know, which I understand where he's coming from, but it's not the same thing. You know, which would be like your that's very similar. It's very similar to what gets activated in like CS, right? Where you're getting activation all the way through the like mucous membrane in the eyes and stuff. This isn't like that. Garlic is like it's more like it's closer to like wasabi or something. You know, so if you get a hot garlic, like the hottest one that I found honestly is the Missouri wild garlic that I found, and then the Shandong from Shandong province in China. That's like the hottest garlic so far that I found. You know what? If you're like a garlic guru and you eat a lot of shit and you know something that's hotter than Shandong, well, you probably don't know Missouri because it's not even known. I just found it on the side of a road. But if you know something hotter than Shandong, let me know. Shandong, I believe Shandong is like of the it's like a turban hardneck variety. Anyway, it makes your it pretty much. So when you eat hot garlic, it literally feels like it's burning a hole through your tongue and the roof of your mouth. Like you feel like you're getting like an ulcer. It's not. Your mouth is completely fine. It's just a sensational thing. And then when you get done with it, and water doesn't really. I don't know. It's weird, right? If you eat a habanero or like a Carolina pepper or something, you eat that shit and it's just gonna resonate in your mouth for fucking hours. You know, like I mean, it's just fucking chaos. If you eat a hot garlic, it feels like it's just burning a hole straight through the top and the bottom of your mouth, and then it goes away within about 10 minutes. What the fuck is this? Who is this SMC guy? What are you worried about? Hang on. Everybody stop, please. I want to talk to this SMC guy. This guy's fucking gaslighting me. Dugan, I'm using Zopov's term. Dugan, you should really think about talk to the federal VA in your area. I'm worried about you as a vet myself. What the fuck do you mean? Say exactly what the fuck you mean. Oh, in the meantime, this guy says it's totally different than like a hot pepper. Do you know what I'm talking about with garlic? It's fucking crazy, right? It's totally different. Thanks, Darky, my bro. He's giving all caps. I don't want to hear about garlic and the VA guy that's trying to tell me he's worried about it. Why are you worried about it? Are you a agitator or are you generally a vet? Oh, okay. I got it. Okay. So he was worried about me because I ramble on. Well, that's pretty much what everybody does in their actions in the daily biz in pretty much the whole world. Just rambling on. I mean, you all ramble. You know, you guys are rambling on about random shit that doesn't fucking matter one bit, and meanwhile your country is just swallowed up. So you get what I'm saying? Like, does it really matter if I'm rambling on about garlic? I think if everybody that's in this stream right now ate some garlic, if they ate 3 cloves of garlic a day, I'll bet it would, I'll bet it would give them a lot of benefit. I think it's a worthwhile ramble. No, I got you. I got you. I'm not shitting on you. I'm not trying to rip off your head. I'm just. Largest Mike knows what's up. Yeah, yeah. So this is a free stream. This isn't like a work of art. Okay, this is like a free stream to it's both for me and for anybody that fucking wants to be here. Nobody has to be here. You can go the fuck away if you don't like it. Yeah, Zalpop, I would recommend if you hunt down the Shandong. The Shandong is really, really, really fucking strong. Shit's strong. If you eat it raw, right? Certain garlics, so some garlic, if you eat it, so some garlic is really mild raw, and then when you cook it, it becomes a little stronger. Some garlic is super fucking sharp raw, and then you cook it, it becomes extremely mild. So it's all relative. Yeah, the Shandong shit is fucking hardcore. I only pull it doesn't it does it's really early. It's an early garlic in terms of growing. I had to grow it to get it. The I think I planted, I don't know, 20 cloves or something. I think I got like 11. Tick repellent? Yeah, I mean, pretty much DEET. So ticks, I have like a lot of experience with ticks. I mean, I've had situations in, so for like Sapper School is in Fort Leonard Wood, and then when I got stationed there at the end of my time in service, you do a lot of land out and shit at Sapper School. So you're out in the fucking bush, and Missouri. It's in Texas County, Missouri, basically, or it's Pulaski County, Missouri. It's right above Texas County, and the environment there, it's almost similar. It's similar, like it's like a mix between Missouri and Arkansas, and you get a shitload of fucking ticks. I mean, it's a fucking hardcore wilderness shit, and I get, I had times where I came out of patrolling and shit, and I would pull off ticks and I'd count them. I think like one time I had 100, I don't know, 157 ticks on me or something like that. Is what I mean, not biting me. Probably like 6 were like bitten in me, but like off my uniform and shit, pulling them off and counting them and shit. I think I had like 157 ticks on me. So ticks are fucking, they're fucking bad. They're not good. DEET is the only thing that I've ever found that will stop them. Is DEET, like the highest concentration of DEET that you can get. Is that good for you? No, it's not good. But I'm sure that it's you're probably like absorbing chemicals through your pores and shit when you use it. But it's the only way that I can find. I would straight up put it on. I would put it on sleeve cuffs and ankle cuffs, and I put it on like behind the knees on the pants, and I put it on the belt line, and then like right above the belt line on the belly. So if anything got past the belt line, it would hit the layer on my belly of DEET. And then permethrin works good for like if you're doping, like if you're doing, I'm assuming permethrin you're talking about uniform dope, right? So it works good, but it wears off really quick. So in the military, if you're doing light patrolling, they have like an SOP for permethrin of doing uniform treatments like every 6 months. You've got to do it like every month if you're actually going to keep the ticks off. It goes off. It pretty much gets out of your uniform within, I don't know, 3 washes. You're gonna deactivate it. They obviously 6 months is way more than 3 washes, so it's pretty much like ineffective by 6 months for sure. Now, I will tell you this. So, now Lyme disease, that's serious. So, we actually had a soldier in cyber school that died of Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which is a tick-borne illness. He got bit by a tick, and he died about a month later. So, Rocky Mountain spotted fever is a big deal. And the I could be mistaken here. I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure. I think sulfur that's in garlic actually helps with ticks. We're just talking about garlic. Look at that. They just fucking cut me again. Unactivated sulfur that's in garlic actually helps you repel ticks through your blood. I'm sure there's a ton of so every medication and chemical is based off of plants. If you didn't know that, there used to be prior to the establishment of FDA and shit, where they're in modern chemistry, where they're synthesizing compounds and shit. Everything came from plants. It's the basis of everything. They're just doing a higher order extraction when they're doing synthesis. You know. Now one of the so two really cool things that you can use for like anything, chiggers, ticks, anything like that, bites that are itchy. You can use plantain, which is that flat, low-lying plant with the big ass fat, shiny top leaves, and then it usually has these string seed pod things that come out. They just kind of look like kind of upright antennas or something that pop out of it. It's usually low to the ground. It has real wide leaves, and it just kind of looks like a, I don't know, kind of like a, fuck, I don't know. It's really close to the ground. Plantain, yeah. So if you take the plantain, you just rip the leaf. Now make sure that it's fucking plantain, right? Like if you don't know what a plantain looks like, then just fucking disregard this shit if you're not willing to learn. If you identify a plantain and you know what it looks like, it's totally unique. It doesn't look like anything else. You can't really fuck it up. Once you know what it is, you rip it with the rip off a section of the leaf, and then you chew it, and then you get like it's gonna taste kind of weird, and you get like a paste out of it. You just chew it up a little bit. You don't have to chew it up a lot, just until it's like, little pieces. And then you pull it out and you stick it on something, and it'll give you temporary relief. It lasts about maybe like, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. And then you do it again. Another thing about plantain, if you eat the seed columns, it's actually a laxative. So if you pluck one of the seed columns and then like put it in the water or something and drink it, it's a laxative. You didn't know that. If you need shit. If you're full up with MREs. Yeah, I mean ticks pretty much the only thing that I've ever found that's effective against ticks that actually reduce the number is to have serious, I did permethrin treatments for, per Army standard and shit on all my uniforms, and then that I couldn't really tell if that worked or not. DEET fucking works. So if you get fucking, I think I was using like a 90% DEET, basically like a DEET extract, and it fucking worked. You would still get, sometimes you go through some patches that were just like tick hellscapes, whereas like you're gonna, no matter what, like they're just gonna like fall on you and just be like, I just want to leave this DEET, it's too much. Or you're gonna get 20 of them on you or whatever. They're just gonna crawl around in your, pockets and shit. But DEET works. So plantain, are you talking about plantain? It grows on the ground. You want to see a plantain? Here, I'll show you. I'm sure I have one right fucking out of here. Let me see. Take the rifle. Look at that. I'll show you what a plantain looks like. I know where one is. We might disconnect here. Okay, so plantain bananas, that's a totally different thing. They just happen to have the same name. No, plantains are very widely distributed. Some in zone 6, which is middle latitude of the United States. I'm going plantain here. That's a fucking. The leaves, if you rip off those leaves and you chew them. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys see the plantain or what? Did you guys get a view of the plantain? Okay. Okay. Good. I'm going back to the truck. They're actually really good. Now the other thing that's really good is I actually have one here actually. Another thing that's really good for mosquito bites, but you have to process it, is a witch hazel. This is a witch hazel. That's a witch hazel. Witch hazel, you don't chew it. You gotta extract it. I got too late. You got a moth in here? Alright. Alright, what's up? Wild parsnips, photodermatitis. I don't even know what the fuck that is. If you chew plantain leaves and you come here, buddy. This moth is gonna be flying all over. Okay, go. He's going outside. He's fine. He's just right there. All right. Be free. All right. So the plantain. I've never gotten sunlight rash. Oh, okay. Don't put wild parsnips on your butthole, is what Rabbi Abe says. So and then moon the sun. The plantain, you chew the leaf and then you put it on anything that itches, and it'll give you temporary relief. Particularly, you gotta have like you kind of you almost want to like scratch it first so that it kind of opens it a little bit. Then you put some plantain paste on it, and just leave it on your skin, just let it dry. It'll just dry out and it'll end up like green flakes on your arm or whatever. But when you chew it, it almost get like it's almost like an aloe type of thing. And then when you mash it as a like a wad, and then smash it on your skin and shit, and then it alleviates itching in most cases, pretty effectively. For at least that edge that you get when you get like a real bad itch from a bug bite. You're like, oh man, I just can't. I gotta fucking scratch it. And you fucking put a clump of that and like smash it in your skin and just kind of like rub it a little bit and then leave it there, it'll fucking take the edge off, bro. Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of, the plantain has a lot of use. A lot of use. Garlic has a lot of uses. They've all got, I mean, there's so much, no, it's not, the plantain doesn't taste good. It tastes a little bit weird. It's gonna be kind of chemical tasting. Pie is all about the baker. All about the baker. People always go too sweet, but I mean, my wife, fortunately, she's pretty good about baking. So she's like, she goes very much on the skimp side on the sugar. Yeah, aloe, very useful, you know. I have seen the 308 tread. I'm not as impressed with the 556, but it is pretty light. It is very light. I'm kind of after the G2, like the DPMS G2. It's kind of, I mean, honestly, it's like the shit. The DPMS G2 is the shit. Do I train my family to shoot? Not really, because they don't, like, my wife doesn't give a fuck. And, I mean, I've tried. My children are still a little bit too young. I mean, I teach them to shoot on analogous things. They're not there yet. But, I mean, I've got a rifle for them when they get a little bit older. Yeah, she can tease on. She can shoot. She just usually when we try to go shoot or train or something, it just ends up like her berating me about something. So not very trainable. The wives, they're trying to train you all the time. You gotta fucking watch your six, bro. I'm sure I'm sure that if like there was actually a threat, you know, that something that she cared about, I'm sure she would fucking shoot them in the face like 4 times. she can be, I'm sure she can be fucking pretty brutal if she wants to be. What are some useful perennial herbs to have around? So there's not a whole lot of perennial herbs. There's what the fuck is a perennial herb? There's most of your herbs are annual. I mean the witch hazel is perennial, it's a tree. Nutmeg, I've never grown nutmeg. I don't even know, does that even grow? I don't even know if that nutmeg grows around here. Let's see. Oh yeah, rosemary, fuck. Rosemary, sages are almost like a perennial. I think sages are annual, but they reseed so easily they're like a perennial. Yeah, dill. Yeah, dill is a perennial. Wormwood is a perennial. Let's see. St. John's wort is perennial, I believe. What else? Perennial herbs. Perennial herbs. Now, what you can do if you make a greenhouse, you can make a lot of things act like perennials. Now, wormwood has some very specific uses. I don't want to go into it. Besides absinthe. You can make absinthe with it if you wanted to. It's mostly for absinthe. It's mostly a flavor. Like all of your, all of your shit in absinthe that's like trippy or whatever. Besides alcohol, is like your laudanum, which is opiate. My favorite liquor, probably. I think, like, like. Let's see, a liquor, either a schnapps, like German schnapps, which is not like American schnapps. So if you didn't know this, American schnapps is not schnapps. It's just a product. Actual schnapps is in Germany are fruit flavored liquors that are complete. They're like fingerprints. They're all different, and they're depending on where you go, they taste different, and they're all fruit based. Most of them, majority. And the other one would be like a Scotch, I like a single malt Scotch that is made by an expert. Those are probably my favorite things besides beer. My favorite beer is molasses beer, and my second favorite is probably a pale ale or an IPA, typically. Although I do like, beer. The Germans are the kings of beer. So Germany has so many fucking types of beer. I always drank, Hefeweizens and pills and shit like that, pilsners and Hefeweizens and there's some good. So one of the things that I really like are in the United States. I really like. There's this technique you get it in Boulevard does it for Tank 7, which I usually don't buy because they make it so strong. I don't fuck around with it too much. But Boulevard makes this thing called Tank 7 where they store beer in old whiskey barrels, so you get whiskey oak smoke in the beer, and it's really good. I've had quite a few beers in Germany. I don't remember the names of them all. Typically, I always kind of stuck with the Hefeweizen because it had the solids in the bottom of the glass. I always kind of like that. I've never had the 6 glass. The Tank 7 is definitely really good. You can taste the oak in it, which I really like. I'm way into hardwood, like burning hardwood and the smell of hardwood and shit. I love fucking hardwood. I don't serve it though. I don't serve wood in the stone. Why do I have a red light in there? So I have a red light because when bitches drive with me in this car, they turn on the red light. They're like, "Oh, where's my fucking whatever? It's not important." And they turn on the light, and I can't see shit. If you have a red light, you can see out of your car while you're driving. And it won't obscure your night vision. It doesn't destroy your night vision. So I have red lights installed in here. That's just how I roll. And then it just looks like that because I'm turning on the lights so you can see me. If I didn't have them on, you wouldn't be able to see me. I didn't see a mixtape stream. What the hell are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. Dip time. Where's my dip? Oh shit, did I leave the fucking dip? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Fuck. Bros, I left the fucking dip. Oh shit, I found an old dip. It's got dip in it still. Where do you get red lights on it? There's 12-volt red lights. Yeah, Boulevard does have good beer. They used to be better. So Boulevard is fucking they're in KC. So they're like an hour west of here. And they sold out. They used to be really good. They used to be like KC local. If you didn't know this, Kansas City, Missouri used to be called like if you're familiar with barbecue, right? So Kansas City, Missouri is like is like the historical barbecue source, pretty much. It has it definitely has like the most. If it's not the source, if it didn't start somewhere else, it definitely took off in KC, and that's why you have like Gates barbecue and shit like that. Now Gates, so Kansas City used to be called the Gateway to the West because it used to be a city where you'd step off. It was like the farthest west point of the United States before you went into like wild territory. You know that. And then the original, like most of your north-south highways in the United States, the north-south highways in the United States, if you didn't know this, like those all got in place. All the highway system, east-west is all even. North-south is all odd. That all got in place by Eisenhower for his New World Order. You know, his little New World Order service. And they are like convenient. They're also convenient for the people that fucking control us. The places that they chose, the places the highways developed were natural progressions from previous roadways that were pretty well traveled. The reason why the previous roadways were pretty well traveled is they're actually Indian trade routes in the United States for the engines with a feather, not a dot. And the reason that the Indians used the trails that became the highways is because those were animal migration trails from like middle America into Canada region, and they passed through the United States. That's why. If you don't know it. Hell yeah. It's just kind of a cool fact, right? Because you can look at it on the highway that's just a sea of concrete now, and you can think back and think about like elk migration, just think about how cool it would have fucking been to be if you were in the United States in the 1500s, and there would just be it'd just be fucking woods everywhere, and you walk around and you see like just a fucking super highway for fucking elk and shit. It'd be so cool. Yeah. The reason why the NWO picked that is because they're like, well, this is already cleared out, so it's less labor, it's less clearing and less labor, and it's already the animals are selecting the routes through evolution, like through evolutionary pressure, and so they end up being the most efficient, like the most spatially and geographically efficient fucking routes. Like they didn't just like wake up and be like, oh, we're all going to go down this path. It's like they were going everywhere, and the most efficient route gets evolutionarily selected and like run down, trample, and turned into a superhighway. If you didn't know that. Same thing with the East Coast, like I-95. I-95 is a fucking like animal superhighway. Yeah, path of least resistance. That's right, Mike. Pre-railroad railroads. That's right, Chad. It's God. That's what it is. Feed is distorted. Well, I don't know. I can't do anything better. I'm like, there's a fucking tower right fucking there, and I've got a Wi-Fi and cellular. There's nothing. I can't do any better than this. Yeah, America. So the Indians had it right. The Indians had it fucking right. The Indians are probably like, I'm talking like North American Indians, not like Aztecs, but the North American Indians. They were completely fucking harmonized with the earth. Absolutely fucking. Now it's probably pretty hardcore, and I'm sure there was like, selfishness going on. But in terms of, the Indians didn't view land as like ownership and shit, and they were way fucking closer to where we should be than we are. If I could be reincarnated as anything, I'd be reincarnated as a vulture, because a vulture is pretty much a perfect creature. They don't destroy anything, and they only take care of what's already destroyed, and that's like their fuel source. They're probably like the most efficient. They fly as high as eagles. They they can they're the reason why they can find, I mean, they do have a sense of smell that they find dead animals with. But if you spend a lot of time around vultures, like if you want, like I have vultures fucking everywhere here, and they actually live in the creek behind my house. I have like a where I live is actually like a migratory bird, um, like air convergence superhighway. So I get like extreme diverse birds here, and I get everything from like kingfishers to fucking different types of ducks. I get like wood ducks and fucking migratory ducks that don't even live here. They're just passing through here. I get like all the Canadian geese come through here when they're going to Canada. And it's like millions of like in February I get millions and millions of geese come through here. Literally. I mean, there's like some of these fields around here. You look and they'll just be like covered in black and white dots, and it'll just all be geese. And the fucking like vultures will smell. Their smell is good. Their eyesight is excellent. Like vultures' eyesight is so good that they can fucking like see shit. Like when they're way the fuck up, at like eagle height, they're using eyesight and then they use smell for the like the final location confirmation and shit. And the reason that they circle so much is actually because they're making when they're circling, they're making sure the thing is dead. That's what they're doing. Because they're respectful of life, so they don't want to like go in there and start eating on something that's alive. That's why they circle like 20 times, because they're just watching with they're just like they found it and they're watching with their eyeball and they do some swoops and shit. So actually they're extremely fucking respectful and intelligent birds that are really really good birds. So this guy says anarcho primitivism, by the way, is exactly what they want. That's a movement that's been co-opted for decades, so you can just be a little hippie and roll around in dirt and Mother Gaia. Yeah, you're right, and that is what like Burning Man is like the tech version of that, like the Silicon Valley version of that. Fucking hippie movement is like that. All this shit is like that. That's not what you want. What you want is you want a you want a refusal of finance. It's all about finance. Everything is about finance, right? So it doesn't really have to do with anything at all. Like all of the shit that I'm talking about taking care of yourself in terms of like growing your food and fucking getting off the system and shit like that, that's not primary, right? The primary thing is finance. Finance is first and foremost. If you buck finance, you'll have no fucking choice but to do all those things. You see what I'm saying? You get what I'm talking about? Finance is the fucking primary thing. Like, everything is finance. Everything is fucking finance. Not only that, like finance is finance. So if you didn't know this, so like the Jews have a fucking in Deuteronomy 16, the Jews are commanded to use finance. Did you know that? In a very broad sense. It's very broad dictation. But that is a part of like a part of this whole process is being lent into oblivion and then like working backwards from there. That's why money is an abstract technology that's not even physical. It's not even a physical thing. It's just this fucking ethereal, introduction technology that came from some other place that people use that doesn't even have any tie to reality. I mean, it's just like nutso. And just still people, like women will like let strangers fucking cuckold them for money. I mean, it's just fucking insane. It's literally nothing at all. It's like fucking smoke. It's vapor. really. They're not. None of the physical is a good. Is a good. Is a is a real. You guys that are material based are really like material. You're going in the wrong direction. Yeah, I don't hunt crows. I don't hunt crows. I don't hunt ravens. I don't hunt any of those things like magpies, crows, ravens. They're really smart. So if you didn't know this, if you provide things for crows, like if you put out food for crows and shit, particularly like if you have crows in your area and you feed them and shit, they'll actually go out and so crows selectively like they're very dissimilar to other birds because of the level of intelligence, particularly ravens. Crows will they'll actually go out and according to their sight, right? Like they have their own sight granted to them in terms of like how they see the world. They'll go out and steal things from everywhere they go and stockpile them. And if you they'll typically stockpile them in a location in the woods somewhere, and then like as they go through their life, they keep them. It's like their own private possessions, and when they die, they just get lost, and you just find like a pile of trash. You have no idea that it has anything to do with crows. Uh, when if you feed crows regularly, if you develop a relationship with crows, they will actually reciprocate whatever you. So like if you feed crows, if you put out like nuts, like they really enjoy like nuts. So if you put out like pecans and fucking almonds and shit like that, and you actually get crows coming regularly, it usually takes a couple of years. It'll take like 2 or 3 years. Crows as a murder, like a group of crows is called a murder. They'll actually reciprocate and they'll bring back shit that they stole from like all of their flight patterns and they'll drop it off on your like wherever you feed them from. They'll come and fucking set it off. They'll fucking set the shit that they steal on your like your deck or whatever. So if you put out if you're on like like a lot of people have like back decks or backyards or whatever, and they'll go like feed crows and shit. And if the crows identify that like you're feeding them, and they know that, and they return, and they keep coming back, and they're like, "This guy helps me out," they'll fucking go to their stash, grab the shit that would normally be found as trash, and start finding like weird shit outside of your. No, they won't bring food. They'll bring like non-perishable goods. It's usually like it's shit like rings, like they really like shiny objects, so like rings, like metal objects, shiny plastic, shit like that. Yeah, so if you didn't know this, I can't remember the genus or whatever. So make a look at the genus of crows. So everything that's in the genus of crows is similar to that. So like ravens, magpies, crows. Crows are the most reciprocal, and ravens are also reciprocal. That's why Native Americans always had like very high esteem for ravens. Now I will say this, like, so when I was in Utah, I went up Mount Mellenthin and La Sal's from the north side, which is like I'd never recommend doing. It's probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life. Once you get to the top, once you get to like 2,500 or 12,500 ASL, there's nothing living up there. It's just snow, some kind of volcanic rock-ish stuff that's metallic, and then spiders and ravens, and that's it. Like the only thing up there, you see like little black spiders everywhere crawling in and out of the rocks. They're like all over the fucking place. And there's ravens, and they just go around in murders and just fly like point to point. They're just like, "What's up? What the fuck are you doing up here, weirdo?" They're fucking badass. It's like Death Peaks. Shoot, shovel, shut up. So you know how I learned that term, the shoot, shovel, shut up. So like, I moved to a house that was way out in the boonies, and no neighbors, right? I don't have any neighbors or anything. So I'd say within the first 2 months I was here, I was going outside and I was doing something out in my outbuilding, and I was going back to the house. It was real fucking late night. It was like 12 o'clock. I was walking in the house. I got gravel outside. I don't have any lights, right? So it's like dark. It's dark outside. Really fucking dark. 'Cause this is in a city. So you're pretty much subject to whatever your lume level is from the moon. So I'm going back to the house and I hear fucking gravel behind me. Like, it sounds like footsteps. So I thought somebody's fucking rushing me. And then, of course, like, and I was also kind of paranoid at the time because the shit was going on in my life that I'm not going to talk about. But there was like gravel footsteps behind me, and I fucking flipped around, and I didn't have a light on the pistol, so I had no light. I was carrying a pistol, and like turned around, saw a fucking. I couldn't tell what it was. I knew it wasn't a person. I knew it was an animal, like a large animal, but I didn't know what it was, and I knew it wasn't fucking mine. And it was about 3 feet away from me, like moving towards me, and I just fucking like pop, 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 and fucking killed it. And it was like a neighbor's dog, and they they had traveled like a mile and a half, and I guess they were that dog would probably come like as soon as I shot it, I shot it and killed it, and as soon very quickly, right? It was extremely instant. It was an instantaneous thing. It's like I'm talking like a half second probably. The as soon as I shot it, the tail came up and I saw it was a dog. I was like, fuck, and then I went and I the neighbors were gone. What I did was I drove around all night trying to figure out like who it would be, like looking for tracks and shit, and then put it in my like he spent the night in my truck bed, and then I went in the morning tried to go find them. They went to the Kansas City Chiefs games. They were gone like all day, and so I went the next morning. I went over there. And I was like, hey, you know, you dog? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay. I killed your dog. He was like coming onto my porch while I was going up there. I thought it was a person. And then gave him back their dog, and they buried it. And it was pretty sad. I love dogs a lot, and I don't like killing in general at all. And it's just a fucked up situation. But, yeah, I know. I'm ATF. It was like it was one of the situations I thought it was a human being coming I didn't know what it was. At first I thought I heard the footsteps and I thought it was either like some kind of fucked up like murder attempt or something, and then I was like, fuck, this could be like a meth head like about to fucking come up to my house and like fucking have their way with my family. So like I drew my gun before I even turned around. Like I was just like suave guy, like the pit, like maybe a step and a half, like, oh, I'm getting out the pistol, like getting proper grip and shit, and I fucking spun around, and then it was just like giant. It was it was a black dog, and it was nighttime, so it's like my night sight could see, like I could see that it was, I have a dog. It's way larger than mine. I thought it was a pig. Is what I thought. It was so close to me. Like when I shot it, the bullet pattern was like this. Like it like went through the head like that. That's how fucking close it was. It was like right up on me. So like as soon as I turned around, it was like right there. I was just like pop, pop, pop. It was like a very instant thing. It wasn't a very. It wasn't like I was like, where no. I mean, it was like it was. It shouldn't have fucking been there. I'll tell you that. I mean, it is an animal. Animals, they're in their home no matter where they are. So. If I had, it was basically a situation where it was like, I was like, I miss, I, because I turned around, couldn't even tell what it was because it wasn't like its tail was down and shit when I saw it. So like, I could only see the outline of like the shape of the back, which could be a ton of different animals. And I had to make like a quarter-second fucking decision of like, is this a threat or not? And I was like, it's an animal. Like I'm gonna shoot it. I don't like shooting dogs. I wouldn't have shot if I would have been able to tell it was a dog. I wouldn't have shot it, and unless it like attacked, was like physically biting it or something. Yeah, no, I gave it back to the owner. Yeah, yeah. People are people are dangerous. Animals aren't dangerous really. He was just so, what was happening. I'll tell you what was happening with the dog. That dog was a good dog, and he was coming up to me to, like, hey, how's it going? That's what was going on. He wasn't coming up to me to like fucking bite me. He was just extremely weirdo. He was like a nocturnal dog coming out like 12 o'clock in the morning and like getting way too close to me, and I can't see anything. I don't know what's going on. It's not the dog's fault. I'm sure it's a good dog. It's my fault. Yeah, now I always have lights. Yeah, there's a weapon light learning. I mean, I kind of already knew that. You know, I just never been like tested like that. I already knew that. I mean, you shouldn't. You basically like you're basically asking for that to happen if you don't have the ability to identify a target, right? So if you don't have a weapon light, you're kind of asking for a scenario where, and that's what I mean when I'm, you know, that's why I went through the effort of explaining that I could, you know, kind of the mental process of identification. Like I could tell it was an animal, and I could tell that it wasn't mine. The first process was I was expecting it to be a person, you know, in which case I wasn't going to shoot right away. I was going to, you know, basically fucking like identify their weapon using ambient light that it could. I have really good eyesight actually. These glasses are fake. My eyesight is about it's. I don't know what it is because the charts top out at like 2010. I'm beyond 2010. My eyesight's really good. The fucking as soon as I turned around, I knew it was not a person, and I knew it wasn't my animal, and I knew it was an animal. And so it's like within the brain processing time, I had to decide, you know, is it worth it if this is a threat? And it was so close because it's approaching me to probably just like see, you know, because it's a friendly dog, and so it was approaching me. Anyway, yeah, I'd be a lot slower to turn out. I was really hung up then. I had like spook stuff going on then. It was freaking me out. That was like my deepest worry was that it was like a rational thought, but that was my fear anyway. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. OC, I don't know. I don't know. All right, I left my dip in the garage. You're gonna get my dip on the road. Ba, ba, ba. Oh fuck! What's up? What's up? The fucking corner store and gas station shops and shit like that. There's something about them that's really appealing because it's just the like nobody has any expectation of you. You know what I mean? Like it's literally like you clock in and fucking do the shit to standard and that's it. And as long as you do that, you're not gonna get fired. Like I don't know how people feel, but like there's not like a restaurant or something like that. People have like expectations and shit, and if you fucking people have like way different levels of expectation. If you disappoint them, they can make your life hell. I feel like if I went to a gas station and was like, hey, could I get a pack of gum worm? And if the cashier was like, fuck you, I would be like, I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. And they'd be like, no, I'm just kidding. Here you go. And they give it to you or whatever. And you just like leave and you wouldn't say anything. You know? Yeah, cheese on risk is high for a gas station. Yeah, fucking waiters, fuck, man. That's not worth it. I would never be a waiter. That's terrible. People with food and shit. You know what it means? You know why people get stressed out about restaurants and shit? Because human beings are meant to make their own fucking food. They're not meant to go buy food. I mean, that's why people's standards and shit, and it's almost like a neurotic, like you know. I mean, it's literally like the situation is that food is extremely obviously very personal because it goes inside of your fucking body. You're putting things you're putting things that are outside of your body into your body when you eat food, and so people have all kinds of different it's a sensitivity of people and they don't acknowledge it in society. And so what happens is you have FDA standards and shit like that, like or what do they call it? The fucking food inspectors and shit, and people have all kinds of fucking different standards. Some of them are rational and some of them are not in terms of standards. Yeah, that's what's really going on. What it really means is that human beings are not meant to be, because here's the deal, right? With food, let's say that you went and had dinner with somebody that you respected greatly, right? Like imagine the person that you respect the most, and imagine that you went to dinner with them at their house, or if they came to your house and made food. Either way, right? You can contrast both of them. If you really respect somebody, like you're probably not even gonna make a big deal if they fucking pick their butthole and then fucking handle their food with their fingers. You're gonna like rationalize it in your head. And you're gonna be like, you know, this is fucking like, man, that's like really off-putting at first, but it's only gonna be like a quarter second, and you can be like, I really respect the way that guy handles my food with his butthole fingers. Like that's what's gonna happen, right? You know what I'm saying? No, no, no. Imagine. Okay, if you're imagine. So we probably got a lot of Christians in here. Imagine like Jesus Christ was like making you a meal. You wouldn't give a fuck if you scratching his butthole and making your food. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd be like, wow, this is the best food I've ever eaten. See what I'm saying? But then if you're dealing with like general public, it's like a total abstraction. It's like neuroticism. I'm not saying that germs aren't real and you won't get sick in certain situations. What I'm saying is that like people's standards are. I'm saying that people's standards are all over the place. It's totally psychological and dependent on the second, like the entropy of the moment. Victor. Oh shit. Okay. Here we go. 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 I need to clear the fucking wire. Clear the fucking wire. Can I get a clear the wire on here? Can I get a clear the wire repeat, please? Can you guys echo? It's bait? You think it's bait? Is it bait? For sure. You know who he is? Oh fuck! Look at this fucking tick. That fucking tick. Oh, that's a fucking tick. He's trying to hide out. He's like, oh fuck, he saw me. There he is. Should I have mercy? Mercy? Mercy. The world needs more mercy. The world needs more mercy. He won't bother. He won't bother. I'll put him far away. Alright, so is it bait? Is it bait or what? Where is he? Where's the guy? What's the guy's name? What's his name? I made an executive decision. I gave the tick mercy. I put him on the Monsanto cornfield across the street. Where is he? Where is he? Fuck, you guys fucking said a lot of shit on here. Victor. Victor. Where's Victor at? Victor. 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 What do you have to say for yourself? Victor. He's copy and paste? Is he really? You reckon that is a copy pasta? See, Zopov is genuine, but what he's saying, normal people don't understand that. What he's saying. I think we gotta get it. I think we gotta get into it. I think we gotta get into it. All right. So how do I put this? How do I put this? Oh, did he? Okay. No, this is good. This is good. Zopov, hey, Zopov, are you Jew, by the way? I couldn't tell if you were Jew or not. You seem like a Jew. Which is fine. No, it's fine. I don't mean like a challenge. I'm just asking. Oh, no comments. It's just. Oh, okay. Really? I thought for sure you were a Jew. Okay. So so here's the deal, right? So you guys familiar with the difference between Klal Israel and Eretz Israel? Are you guys familiar with the I don't think Shekelstein's a Jew. Probably not. I probably don't think he's an ordained rabbi either. All right, so so Klal Israel is the people Israel, the Eretz Israel is like the land Israel. Okay. Now to make it a little more confusing to non-Jews, or a little more clear, depending on how you want to interpret it, there is also a land of Israel that is not physical. Klal, that would be Kliel, Klal Israel. Eretz is Eretz, Eretz Israel. Or Yisroel. Right? There's also a non-physical Israel, which would be like where you get like passages like New Jerusalem in the New Testament and shit like that, or in Ezekiel. Okay, so now what I'm saying is that in Judaism, it is totally prohibited to make Israel. Totally fucking prohibited. Like the Israel right now, the nation state is totally 100% fucking prohibited. You guys know that? Like not supposed to be, not all supposed to be happening. You guys know that? In Judaism. Okay, Zalpov says, considering real Jews are there though. So do you know why real Jews are there? Do you know why Jews are in Israel? Like, actually, like, do you know why there are Jews in Israel right now that understand that this is the case? Do you want to know why they're there? The reason that there are Jews in Israel is because they're there for like spiritual presence. They're not there for a diplomatic or national presence. They're there as like they're under the exile and they're just going there for like while they're alive to be spiritually present, even though it hasn't called it. And they are completely apart and separate from the nation state of Israel. Did you know that? Did you guys know this? Did you know that the people who made Israel did the Holocaust? Did you guys know that? Like, what was the Holocaust? Like, what was like the Holocaust? The Holocaust is obviously the Holocaust is like not what it seems, right? Like in terms of its current centerpiece position of the World War II narrative, which is not accurate, completely inaccurate, and not true. There are multiple nations that lost more people than Jews that are completely forgotten, and it's like as if that fucking matters, as if it's like some kind of like fucking scoreboard or something. It doesn't matter at all in that regard. It's just like human life is valuable. It's valuable because God made everyone, and it's human life. It shouldn't be discarded in such a way, right? Do you know that the people that made Israel did the Holocaust, like made the entire thing, and did like are responsible for all those Jews dying in World War II? Did you know that? We haven't talked about this. I haven't gone that hardcore in talking about it. I'm telling you right now that the people who made Israel, like Rothschild House, is responsible for fucking Holocaust, in my opinion. Like the brain, like the the orchestrators of it. A lot of Jews don't know that. It's not even burnt. It's not even burnt offering. Jewish sacrifice is a completely different thing. It's a co-optation. It's a fucking emulation parallel to Judaism. It's the ultimate fucking nation state. Nation state concept is something that's relatively new. Like nation states are only a few hundred years old. Israel is like the super state nation state version that doesn't recognize the boundaries of nation states, of like what we consider nation states and peoples and shit like that. It's like a fucking nation state that doesn't play by any rules. It's just like fucking 100% full-time go. No, World War I and World War II are absolutely planned to create Israel, the nation state. Which, by the way, Israel, the nation state, like when you turn on the news and you see Israel, like the headline, something about Israel, that has nothing to do at all with either Eretz Israel nor Klal Israel. Just so you know. And there are Jews that are in, like Klal Israel Jews that are not aware of what I'm talking about, and there are some that are aware of what I'm talking about. Yeah, World War III is the culminating step in this. Now, okay, now you want to get into some deep shit here. I know you do. You don't even have to answer. That's why you're fucking here. You ready? You ready for this shit? The reason that fucking Israel is made. The reason that fucking Israel is made, and the shit is so successful. Like the reason that evil is so successful, is because it's the fucking creator doing. Like the creator is doing it. Ultimately. Yeah. Okay. You guys get that? Like there are no religions. There are no religions at all. I'll probably fucking die in my sleep tonight. I'm telling you, but maybe not. God is very merciful. And that's pity on the weak and the dumb. You can call whatever you want. I was miserable as a tick. What don't you agree with, Christian? Jesus? I haven't touched the Jesus thing very purposefully. I assume that most of the people in here are Christian. I am Christian by birth. I'm not Christian by my choice. I'm not religious either. So in my opinion, there are no religions. And simultaneously, there are all religions. In my opinion. Loki wants an earlier question. Let's see. Logi's an OG here. And I will respect his request. If I don't answer you guys' questions because I just don't see it because there's so many comments. Let's see, Loki. I'm going back to your prior question. Do you gonna be saying that God is responsible for suffering? Is that the question you're talking about, Loki? There are no religions. I gotta start a religion. Loki, are you there? So just so that we understand, so we're on the same page. I'm using the term God because that's what you guys are using. Right? So Alexander, have a good night, my friend. Godspeed. Well, see, that's the thing, right? So when I'm in my own head, I don't use a word, or I'll use like all words, because I've never had God identify themselves to me. Yeah. No, yeah, right. You got it. So, here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying, like I'm answering your suffering question from my captivation here on this planet, right? Like which is limited, right? So what I mean is that take this with a grain of salt, and by a grain of salt I mean I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. What is going on with world construction, the way that it's gone on, like in history and where we are now? Like right now, you can't deny, to me, in my sight, it's very difficult to deny that humanity is entirely captivated under deception. You know what I mean? And so the probability of the success is perplexing of that. Like what I mean by that is that when I turn on the news and or comment forums, if I go to Reddit, sometimes I'll go to Reddit just to read what people say because it's so I mean, it's just amazing. It's mind-boggling, and it's very obvious when I go to Reddit that there are a lot of world government paid trolls that are in there to synthesize consensus and control discourse. It's very obvious that that is what's going on. You know, like a large number of the people that are on Reddit are people that are clearly on the same page monetarily and are doing it as a job and like secretly, and the general public isn't aware of that. And things that they say are so wrong that, you know, not only wrong in a sterile logic sense, but in terms of a any you know, not my ethics platform, but just an ethics platform for a human being that has to live and fight and survive in this world. It's just not. It's such a disparity between acknowledging that aspect about how everybody's doing that and what they're saying, that it's, you can tell that they're being paid, right? Because they ignore continuity between like what they're saying and what a person would have to accept to just exist in the world and survive, and then therefore logically grant to other people in terms of acceptance and shit like that. It's so far beyond that that it exposes that it's clearly people that are being paid to push a certain point, right? The fucking, the people that are ultimately at the very top of the shit that's going on, that are running this shit, they either have to be following like a rule set, like a written law that is esoteric and not available, like nobody's aware of it, that was given a long time ago, and they're following a directive in a disciplined fashion that is incredibly pious, or they're in fucking direct contact with God, because there's just no way that people are so fucking degenerate and depraved at that level of what's required in terms of competence in order to guide the world in this direction. Like, it's just not possible. You can't have degeneracy and the kind of purposeful, like a logical selection for chaos and disorder can't exist unless you're doing it purposefully. It's not possible. It doesn't organically manifest that way in entropy, in social reality, right? And so and so what I'm saying is that everything in reality and existence is a polarity. You know, hot and cold, positive and negative, yin and yang. It's everything, right? It's the contrast. And so in order to make something good, you have to have something incredibly opposite of that in order for it to manifest. Like it can't, you can't have the existence, the greater that your evil is, the greater that your capacity, your threshold of good is, because they are directly related. Right? And so one of the could somebody look at the passage about the most wicked, the reward for the most wicked? Could somebody look that up? The reward of the most wicked. Yeah. Evil reigns. Evil reigns right now. Evil reigns. No doubt about that. By design. Bradley, can you give a citing for that? Luke. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that passage. Oh, it's Psalms 34:21. Thank you for that. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. The turn of the destruction part. That's in physicality, right? So that's of a physical concern because it's his enterprise. Therefore, be his reward, right? That's all physical, right? Now the dictation of that, the dictation of why that is the way that it is, right? Why is it that the construction, the sowing of evil by the sight of a person, why is it that it couldn't render them cotton candy, right? Why? But why? Why? Why is it that a person can't commit evil and then you know have any other outcome other than that? Why? Why couldn't a person read the Tanakh without any kind of help, and then of their sight decide that they need to do something that was evil? Like if they read it and their mind didn't capture the things that would keep them in check, and it only captured the parts that would make them feel like they needed to seek revenge or whatever. Like if that's the way their sight read it, right? Why what like if somebody was like that, then why would once they committed evil, right? And they're committing evil, and then it leads to their destruction. Why would it lead to their destruction rather than lead to a blessing? What dictates that it leads to destruction is what I'm saying. Okay. So what I'm saying is that why what dictates that evil eats itself as a matter of law, like absolute law. Well, entropy is law. I'm trying to get to a point, but I'm not gonna give it to you. You're gonna have to find it. Mike asked me, Dugan, do you believe that religion was pushed for capital gain? So what I'm saying to you is that God created the abstraction of what we use as like money, everything, everything. That's what I'm saying. Everything, and that's what I mean by that's what I mean by there is no religion. Literally, you know what a religion is. Like you could take any religion. You could take Christianity. That's a person that that's like a human interface between human beings of someone that has a connection to God, and they communicate their site of communication, and then people create a religion around it, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, do you get what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that all the religions deny each other, and they all do so from the same earth, which exists necessarily and necessarily had to be created. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if everybody was in direct communication with God, at all times, and like, had no doubt about their action or thought because it was all being dictated, then you would have no need for religion. I don't assume anything. I don't assume your views are Christian if you're talking to me. I don't know if you're talking to me or what. Does that help? Does that help? If everybody was a prophet, if everybody was Ezekiel, if every single person had the experience of Ezekiel, then you'd have no religion. You get what I'm saying? Why would you have a religion if everybody had visions and direct communication with God? Religion would have no necessitation because it would be just like you guys look at a tree and everybody thinks that they see a tree, right? You look out there, you see a tree, somebody else sees a tree, you don't even talk about trees, right? You drive by millions of trees every day. Nobody fucking talks about them. Nobody says anything. It just exists, right? It's the way it is, right? You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm talking about here? Or what? Do we need to do another example? Okay, another example. If everyone looked at one woman and said that this is the perfect woman and this is my wife, right? And it was just all the same, then you wouldn't have any opportunity for displacement or contrast or, um, I mean, basically wouldn't have any like time or space, you know? Yeah, you got it, Jag. You got it. You got it, Jag. Now, okay, so Jag said, I'm going to read Jag's comment. God makes contact with an individual and people worship. He says that the people worship the specific human and form a religion around it. Now, I kind of disagree with that. I don't think people are necessarily worshiping a human, but they're using the human. The human is interpreting things that are not human and not bound by human language. And human language is extremely flawed and limited, necessarily, because we're using a vocal palette, which is like sound waves, and then it has to be transmitted through the air, and then it has to be perceived by the brain, communication, or vice versa, it has to be written, and then you have to read it, and you have to comprehend it with the brain. Okay. Now let's say that I write the word. I'm gonna make this really fucking simple. So if I write the word sea, S-E-A, does everybody have the same concept when I write the word sea? Do you guys think of the same sea? Do you guys think of the same? Do you think of a picture of a sea? Do you think of the word sea? Do you think of sea salt? Do you think of like struggle? Do you think of like swimming because you swim in the ocean a lot? Do you think of sea monsters? Do you think of the American voyages? Do you think of I mean, there's a lot of things that you can think about if you say sea, right? You think about the letter C? Exactly. Chad's got what I'm talking about. You all think different things, right? So that is the flaw of human language, is what I'm talking about. Kevin sees the word sea on a blank sheet of paper. Somebody else might hear the word sea and they might think about the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks. And they might think about Wilson the Ball with the blood on it and somebody being stranded. Somebody might think about sharks or jellyfish and like getting swallowed by jellyfish and sharks. Right? And so this is the necessary limitation of human language. So when you use human language, you do not see eye to eye. You're not seeing the same thing. Okay? Right? No, it's not only English. It's not only English. It's not true. It's every language. Some languages are slightly better resolution than others. Biblical Hebrew is more resolute. It's not. It's still not. It's not totally good to go. It's all language. It's all language. It's not most language. It's all languages like that. Necessarily. Now here's the next thing, right? Do you think that when you look at something, do you think you see the same thing? Like I used a tree example earlier. Do you think that when you look at a tree and someone else looks at the tree, do you think you see the same thing? Do you think a person that looks at like I like the Osage orange, right? So like I've been stabbed a lot by Osage orange, right? And that probably in a certain way, with the number of times that I've had Osage orange thorns like go into my skin while I'm with them, like handling them and shit. Do you think that my like my perception of looking at Osage orange tree is the same as somebody who's never touched an Osage orange with their hand and only seen pictures? They're probably different, right? If I'm standing in a place, and looking at a tree, and somebody else is standing in a different place and looking at a tree, the same tree as me, like if I'm standing and looking at a tree, nobody else can be where I'm at, right? Because I'm standing there. They can't be inside of my body and in my eyes at the exact azimuth of parallax that I'm looking at a tree, because our eyes are converged, creating parallax. Nobody can have the same visual perspective at all at any time, ever. Like they're going to see it from a different angle, right? What I'm saying is that there is no absolute at all. It's not true. The idea of truth within the perceptions, it's not real. It's illusion. Right? I think I've at least look, in trying to explain this, I think it kind of demonstrates itself, right? As soon as you think about it, it becomes apparent. Yeah, the idea that nothing is absolute is absolute. And it's not at the same time, because it could change, right? It could be changed. But it's not to us. But that is the way that things are now. And that's why I was talking the other day. I was saying that the cutting edge of quantum physics, that science changes all the time, but in terms of the cutting edge, what they're saying now is that the future changes the past. They basically mathematically and logically determine through models that future time affects what occurred previously in mathematical technicality. They're finding this in models. And we're talking here like people that, like science, like the field of science necessarily, it's it's uh it's not correct. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can interpret the quantum theory and its extensions, such as that the future affects the past. There's a lot of ways that you can interpret that. Do you want to know what I think? I'm a dumb kid, and so take it with a grain of salt. But I would say what that means, what that really means, is that we're not in control. That's what that means. In a lot, when you really run it through to its end, what that means is that we're not in control, and that there's certainly not absolutes. Now they're looking at it in a scientific, pragmatic way, right? When they're examining this, and it's not practical to like the way that we perceive our entropy and existence, right? Like that doesn't really help us much. So it's kind of that understanding of it, right? Like if everything's just random and or I mean practically random, like in terms of how it affects us, right? It doesn't have any kind of, there's no lever there for us to fucking grab onto and fucking like, this will get us up to the throne of God and like pull it and like go up there. That's not it doesn't help us with that, right? And so it's not a useful thing in that way, right? The only thing that's useful about it is to publish articles about it and say that you understand. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to go up into it any deeper than that. Well, so Christian D says if you're trying to get the throne, I think you're going about it backwards. So that is what this whole thing is. Like society, science, economics, that is what it is. Now it is being because it's even a possibility, right? Like we could all just be sitting around growing our own food and like eating apples and shit and minding our own business, but it's not like that. And the reason is because there are abstractions that aren't physically present in this world that have come from somewhere else necessarily, such as economics, like economic theory, and how we bridge it into reality using our presence here on this earth. That is the abstraction of mathematics is pretty absolute as far as it's practical to us, right? Because it gets us somewhere. Because we can use it to build things, and we can use it to build ladders, and we can use it to build thrones. We use it to build what we believe are 90-degree angles. We can, instead of building a one-floor mud hut out of clay, we can build skyscrapers, right? Now they're not perfect. They're not perfect. They're practically useful enough to get the floors up to, however many hundreds of floors that they put in the tallest buildings now. I don't know. Right? They're emulating. They're emulating the system that we are subject to is being emulated. Now, where the tools come from, like, for example, Pythagorean theorem is called Pythagorean theorem because Pythagoras of Samos, right, is accredited with discovery of Pythagorean theorem, right? Pythagorean theorem, what it is, which is a ratio relationship in mathematics to like geometry, was necessarily understood by the Egyptians in order to build pyramids. It has to be. Like there's no other way in physicality. So the Egyptians understood and knew Pythagorean theorem. At least they didn't call it Pythagorean theorem, but they understood how it was practically useful, and then it was rediscovered by Pythagoras at a much later time. We're talking like over 1,000 years difference, I think. Maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's 600 years. It's a long fucking time. There's no internet, no telecommunications. These people didn't know each other, and they found the same thing. The thing that they found is called Pythagorean theorem, which is an abstraction, which can't be like if you took blocks of wood, if you took a 2x4 and cut it up into various sections, and then you made a 90-degree section, or what you thought was a 90-degree section, and you took a third part and you laid it across it, and you had like the blocks on the shape of what could deduce Pythagorean theorem. You're looking at you're looking at a perfect abstract concept that is not actually present in the wood. Like the wood is imperfect. It is full of blemishes. If you zoomed in on it, you would find all kinds of anomalies that are not straight. And that is reality. That is a physicality. The idea of the Pythagorean theorem that you deduce out of that is a completely mental abstraction that has no physicality. You can't look and see a Pythagorean theorem growing off a fucking tree or hanging off it or whatever. You can try to hold up a speed square, to build shit when you're building shit and try to get the correct angles and shit. And it's good enough to defeat gravity to where you can build a skyscraper and get it up tall. It's good enough for that. It's not perfect. If you zoomed in on the construction of a skyscraper, you'd find all kinds of fucking imperfections, angular imperfections. You'd find surface area imperfections. You'd find all this shit. It's not perfect. Pythagorean theorem is perfect. Mentally, right? In terms of an abstraction. So it's not here in the physical world. It's entirely a different quality of what it is that is not physically present in the reality that we operate in, but we see it with our minds. And two people that are divided by a large distance of land and water, and that never talked to each other and didn't speak the same language, both came up with it. Why? Where do they get Pythagorean theorem from? If they didn't talk to each other, and you can't fucking see it anywhere in physicality, how does it pop up in the abstract vision that a person has in their mind when they identify it by looking at shapes? That's right. That's right. It's because there is another dimension that is not here, that you can't see with the traditional way that we look. But people are able to access every person. And that dimension possesses within it perfect concepts. They're not physically present on Earth. And that can't be. They're never physically present on Earth at all. And at all, historically ever. And will never be in the present paradigm until something changes. And yet people that don't speak to each other are able to access it independently. All right, it's getting late. I'm gonna wrap it up. Any closing thoughts here? Chad says he likes that concept, Doug. Well, it's not me, so don't attribute me with it. Everything is permitted. Everything is permitted. Garlic can be good in macaroni and cheese. All right, you guys have a good night. I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna take a nap, long nap. You guys have a great night. I love you. Have fun. If I can figure out how to close the fucking stream.